Just a quick warning, this video contains a lot of sensitive topics that someone might not be comfortable with. If by any chance you are uncomfortable with the topics listed here, I highly suggest you leave, because this video will be discussing how the Vyond community utilizes these in the form of weapon. If you still want to watch this, I thank you and I hope you enjoyed the video. The internet is a strange place. It's where unorthodox people can meet other unorthodox people. In this mess, people can come up with communities that they like participating in. But for this video, I want to discuss a particular community and address a huge problem that has been springing on in this community. This specific community I am mentioning is none other than the Vyond community. I also like to state this real quick. It was formerly called GoAnimate, but it's had its name changed in 2018, and now it's more commonly known as Vyond. For those who aren't exactly aware of what Vyond is, it allows people of all skill levels to go in industries and job roles to create dynamic and powerful media with features that go beyond moving and text images. You can build character-driven stories or even compelling data visualizations that engage audiences and deliver results. The idea behind it is that Vyond allows you to make videos for free to create a more professional and utilize it in a more business outlet. However, when you look at it on YouTube, the Vyond community has taken a toll from utilizing it for fun and professional purposes to more tacky and absurd use. Now, not really an issue for being tacky, it's only a problem when it's just outright disgusting, to be honest. I could have gone a more simple video regarding the community and how it's gone very dark and there's tons of awful people in it. People who can't handle a single opinion and shit like that. But I believe it's a good idea to talk about the entire community instead of just one specific area of it. The only way this community is ever going to change is not focusing on one singular issue that dwells within it. In this video, I'm going to be crunching down on the Vyond community's biggest flaws with the help of some friends, Sapphire05 and BearStudios, to reveal the community's decline from a lovely and welcoming community to a remote burning wreck that ruins one's civility, and to illustrate how this community's degradation was inevitable. So relax and get some popcorn, because this is going to be quite a wild ride. The people that reside in the Vyond community have a tendency to where instead of taking accountability for anything that they've done wrong, they will tend to be irresponsible about the situation and tend to ignore, deny, or insult their critics. I think this happens due to the fact that they feel like they need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them on YouTube, but behind that mask of extreme confidence, they aren't really sure about their own self-worth and are easily upset over the slightest criticism. One person that I can give a good example of is Joey Negro. Joey is a pretty big Vyond YouTuber that has amassed himself 45,000 subscribers, which is something that should not be scoffed at, but that's enough praise. I wanted to talk about Joey and his huge amounts of controversy he's had on the community. Joey, over the last few months, has been considered to be the most controversial individual that resides in the Vyond and the Friday Night Funkin' communities, due to his constant fuck-ups and his lack of accountability. Joey had been banned from so many subreddits due to his racist remarks he would display, and making characters or OCs about either a Mexican or black stereotypes. He also made NSFW artwork of children from cartoon shows, including, but not limited to, Super Y, Caillou, and Bluey. Despite being acutely aware of the age of these characters, he would continue to deny what happened. Whenever Joey was called out for these horrendous things, he would later state in a community post about the situation, saying that he had done nothing wrong despite the evidence literally being right in front of his face. After the situation had gotten out of hand, 5 people contacted him on Discord so they would interrogate him on the matter. Joey also seems to talk a lot about pedos or dating underage Vyonders on his page as well. I wasn't really quite sure why he kept mentioning him about that, and after he made some questionable community posts like this as well, made me persuaded to believe that this guy had a history of being a disgusting freak. I decided to do a little bit of research on him, and it turns out that he later admitted to being one in a Discord message where he was being interrogated. So this means I was right. But covering his disgusting acts is another topic for another day. I feel as if without a doubt that everything we've talked about regarding Joey, he needs to have his channel deleted for doing all these terrible things for years and managing to get away with all of it. But this is unfortunately the beginning. We're just getting started. Let's continue further down the iceberg, shall we? One thing you'll definitely notice within the Vyond community is that it tends to have a lot of drama within it. I understand that the community has drama like occur once, maybe twice, because that's like a pretty normal thing in the community. But the way that the Vyonders in this community grow is because they talk about the most trending drama that's occurring in the community. If the entire community seems to be built on people growing their channels because of drama, that isn't really a healthy community of people. I know this quite well because whenever someone talks about the Vyond community critically or talks about the drama residing within it, they obtain a massive spark in views. But when they talk about other types of content, like other videos, their channel starts to dwindle a little bit and lose a little bit of views. Respectfully, I can understand why people talk about the community in such a negative sense. It's just not a good group of people to hang out with or take advice from whatsoever. I feel like when someone is in the Vyond community, you're essentially restricted on what you can say about something. If you want to give some criticism, then you're a bad person. If you believe someone has false allegations pointed toward them, you're a criminal supporter. For some reason, they're also really selective on how they utilize grammar. Quite much so to the point where they won't permit some words on their channel due to them being old or overused. I feel as if people in the Vyond community just follow the herd rather than follow logical comprehensions. I also feel that when you're in that community, the idea of critical thinking is just out of the room, because that's usually what happens when the community has a big drama going on. And now when you give someone that doesn't have critical thinking skills a lot of YouTube influence, they'll do a nasty amount of damage with it if you think about it. However, you'll have some people in the Vyond community who are true outliers. They are very different from the Vyond community, but ultimately, it sucks that outliers in the community are just simply outliers. The outliers have unfortunately gotten used to that sort of absurdity that dwells within that community for a long time. And I just hope for the sake of everyone that I hope that the community eventually finds a way to better itself. To actually address the toxicity that's dwelled around the Vyond community, I feel like I should say this as a form of context. I have been taking a bit of time to look over the Vyond community's behavior for the past week, analyzing how they act or behave towards one another, and from my experiment, and from the results I found and concluded overall, I think that everyone is just fucking stupid. I've tried to find videos or comments about how the Vyond community is toxic, or by any case terrible, and I have found most cases by just looking into a community tab from someone and just seeing them say way worse shit than the first person. I have seen other forms of videos where they essentially make sex videos, grounding videos, or other forms of content to essentially try to get back at one person. An example that I can give is Nick Cheesy. When I was in a war with Chase and the Stick Boy a long time ago with the henchman, he made a 2-minute video on me trying to expose me, and I should mention that this is like an old video, but it illustrates quite well how the Vyond community can act. The video essentially goes into detail of how I'm a bully for simply calling out why Chase wasn't really a good person back then.
Hyacinith has got to be one of the worst, dumbest Chase haters of all time in the YouTube community. Here are some reasons. 1. He makes a video called Chase Makes Drama Once Again. Are you fracking my Iris? You know Chase makes good stuff, because Iris is a dumb bully. He makes a full video about Chase the stick figure downward spiral. Are you serious? They do not want to talk about this crap anymore. I need Iris to grow the frick up a lot of years, because he's gotta learn his lessons for what he did.
And I should clarify that I don't have a problem with him now. I'm just saying this, that it was a long time ago, and me and him basically have this whole thing resolved, so you don't need to worry about it. But basically, instead of really telling me of how my points on Chase were essentially wrong, he would just insult me, tell me to kill myself, or in the instance where he has done this before, he would also tell me how he's gonna send his lovely rape threats.
Hurley, you motherfucking idiot! How dare you bully Nick Cheesy? That's me, by the way. That's it! You are banned forever, bitch! You motherfucking pussy! And guess what? I'm gonna rape you!
I've tried to find people who are also critical about the Vyond community, but most of the people who are criticizing the Vyond community don't really give good criticism on how they are essentially toxic or how they can improve. I can't really rely on the people who make videos about the Vyond community too, because they aren't any better either. Like, respectfully, any video I find criticizing the Vyond community either says it's toxic with no evidence to really back that statement up, or they just show memes about them, not really adding on to the point of how it's essentially toxic. Like, there's a few good videos in the Vyond community that, like, actually explicitly show how the Vyond community is toxic, but unfortunately, they don't really give criticism on how to make it improve, you know? But instead of just rambling on for a few while, let me just instead explain how I believe that this community is toxic. I believe that the Vyond community is toxic because people allow it to be toxic. They don't talk about it, mention it, and they certainly don't address it. Whenever these people say the most deplorable things in the world, they don't really try to ignore the people that are toxic, but instead fire back because they believe that it'll show them who's right. But if anything, these people are just winning a losing battle. If you really want to own these people, just simply report and block them. But if I'm being honest, I don't think it's toxicity that people should be worried about in this instance. I feel as if we should be mentioning something that might be intertwined with the toxicity of this community. Let's talk about that, shall we? I want to transition into a more common theme that is usually a liability in this community, and that is the huge problem of immaturity. The importance of maturity is that it helps improve our abilities to think coherently in situations, and it helps you develop as a person. And it makes you, what I like to say, a positive impact on people around you. However, those who are usually immature are prone to getting themselves into a heap of controversy merely because of their self-centeredness. Jonah Campbell exemplifies this perfectly, and he's if not one of the biggest losers on the platform. Jonah Campbell is a small Vyond YouTuber that's amassed his small audience a few years ago. While Jonah tries to fight for relevancy on the platform, he has successfully surpassed 3,000 subscribers, which is pretty decent for someone small in the food chain of YouTube. Regarded as one of the most infamous creators on the platform for a plethora of reasons, over time, Jonah has started to garner his own hate base, who would collectively criticize, and some people would even had detested him for what he did, while others had tried to, like, seek him into the path of retribution. However, it seems that his path to retribution is on thin ice, because recently Jonah has spiraled himself into controversy due to few reasons, and I will be covering at least 3 things that he was involved in. My first point is his content. So recently, Jonah had posted some tons of suggestive or even NSFW content on his public YouTube channel. His arguments for the whole thing were, "Oh, I thought it was funny." Yes, Jonah, everyone was just looking at your weird fetishes on YouTube that you post, and we're just bursting out in laughter. While I do understand that his channel is listed as an 18+ channel, it should be known that even if it says 18+, some random-ass kid is going to stumble upon those videos that you made, and considering that your audience is children to begin with, it makes this much worse. Heaven forbid you could have put this on a private Twitter, or anywhere, to matter of fact, that isn't on a platform of millions of kids watching content like yours every day. Obviously, me saying millions of kids was an exaggeration, but truth be told, there would probably be kids gonna stumble on this content and see that weird-ass shit that he's posting. I want to move to my second point. I want to mention Jonah Campbell faking self-harm. Now, for those who have been keeping up to date with the whole Jonah Campbell drama recently, there were screenshots on this community tab which would appear that he had self-harmed himself. However, friends of mine had actually done a reverse image search on Google and found out that the screenshot where he allegedly self-harmed himself was faked, and the other one that he made was for him putting jelly on his fingers. I'm not quite sure what was going through his mind when he was making these absolutely unhinged posts, but if it comes down to him faking self-harm just to get some sort of attention, he honestly has a thin chance of even trying to make a path of redemption. My third and final point is I want to cover him talking about his haters. Now for this portion, I want to focus on him making videos targeting his haters. Now, if you've seen his videos, you can notice that Jonah Campbell seems to have an unhealthy obsession about his haters. It's also important to understand that most of what's happening in this chapter has happened because of his vendetta against his haters. What's important to understand is that he seems to believe the world revolves around him. Take a look at this clip as an example.
I also remember Andrew Orozco telling me before that I need to understand and accept the reality that not everybody on the planet is going to like me, and that's what I've accepted. As of the past few weeks of this month, I officially understand and accept the reality that not everybody in the world is going to like me.
Now, I'm not quite sure why Jonah is concerned with this hate base anyway. Not everyone is going to be free from people hating on them, but it doesn't justify Jonah Campbell making threats against people who criticize him. It's quite incredible of how intelligent Jonah would have looked if whenever he was being criticized by his haters, he could have easily just not responded or not gave them a sliver of attention. But he couldn't do that because he's the most predictable human being on the planet. For this portion, we've covered Jonah's content, his sympathy baiting, and his inept ability of being able to take the littlest comments online. Throughout what we've covered on Jonah's controversies right now, it proves beyond a reasonable doubt that he is not mentally stable or is in a mature state to be doing YouTube. I think most people who know about this community are very aware of all the types of content that go in that community. This whole community is built around children or other people doing deplorable shit and then getting abused for the next 9 minutes of the video. What's worse is that Caillou isn't the only victim in this as well. It's other characters too, like Dora and Barney for some reason. I completely understand if these people don't like Caillou or Dora or Barney. Why would you not? That's fine. Your opinion is valid if you don't like these characters. Literally no one is going to give you shit for it. But when you go the extra mile and go as far to make something called Punishment Day for these characters, that is when it becomes a problem. For those who are confused, let me enlighten you. Punishment Day is a day or event that is intended to inflict as much pain or suffering into the person receiving the punishment as possible. Most of these punishment days show the parents as the perpetrators for the pain and suffering. They might even ask or hire other people to take part in that as well, such as other children, neighbors, relatives, and sometimes even the police. I've tried to convince myself otherwise that this wasn't a fetish and maybe it's just some cringe phase that they're going through. From what I saw at the moment, most of the punishments that usually happen were either somewhat tame, but unfortunately, as I dug deeper, other punishments that were implemented onto Caillou, Dora, or any fictional character includes beatings,
getting whipped slavery style,
pain, please let this be over,
burning in hot coals, eating a glass ornament, and getting shredded by a fucking lawnmower. There was also cases of medieval torture, psychological torture, and usually at the end of each punishment day, he would either get killed or shot at the end of the video. That's not even the end of it either, or even the worst part, and if I continue further, I fear I might get into trouble with YouTube's community guidelines. I see comments like this essentially saying that it's just dark humor, and people are just getting mad. Am I missing something? Where's the punchline? Is the punchline the fact that there's people out there making videos of Caillou getting abused to shit? Wow, what an absolute knee slapper. If this isn't the most sick and disgusting type of content ever, I don't know what is. And I'm not sure why these channels have a fetishization with children doing terrible things or getting abused. And apparently this community has had this thing for over 7 years and still going. I don't think I was as disgusted as I was when I had to write this chapter, but unfortunately we have a long way to go, so let's just continue with the video. Given that the average age of the Vyond community is probably no older than a fetus, this community effectively ends up being a virtual daycare. And also when I say that the community is filled with young kids, I mean barely able to form a coherent sentence together young. Despite the Vyond community being targeted towards and heavily populated by children, this has also been the perfect breeding ground for degeneracy. So for this section, I'm going to be highlighting 2 exceptionally special specimens festering within the gutter that is the Vyond community. Our first specimen is Super Poisonous Yoshi Animator Bros 1997. His real name is McCloud Haggerty, but to save some time, I'm going to be abbreviating him as Freak. Recently, he changed his name to Maxrid Infinity, the Mario and Sonic fan 1997, to avoid the backlash he was receiving for dating a 16-year-old when he was 9 years older than her. and there were a few more instances where he was going after for more minors as well. When people started to catch a glimpse of what he was doing, he tried to weaponize his mental health and autism and trying to use it as a shield so that he wouldn't get too much smackback for what he did. He also made a community post basically admitting to dating the minor in question, as well as admitting that he was a pedo. This is absolutely degenerate behavior. Despite being exposed with evidence and potentially reported a multitude of times, his account is still up and running and people forgive him for the whole situation. Which isn't really surprising by itself, considering that the community is made up by small children who are easily manipulated by this guy to believe that what he did wasn't illegal, or in any case, bad whatsoever. Now, the next person we'll be discussing is Sean Sullivan, who is, if not a much more disgusting freak than the last one, but not as terms as disgusting, but more as terms as retarded and petty. Sean Sullivan, at the time, was a small and well-known YouTuber who had amassed over 13,000 subscribers, which made him quite a big deal in the Vyond community. However, his channel was eventually deleted and never seen again after he made videos of yeah, this guy's idea of an entertaining YouTube video was to take videos of underage characters performing sexual acts. Granted, this was around 2019 to 2020, but whenever he was called out on this, he would send threats to other people in the community and to my friend Winter by saying he was going to rape him. But that's not even the worst part of it. He also got his mom on the whole situation and basically got 2 of the channels that were criticizing him terminated. Since then, my friend has been threatened with lawsuits by his mother and other forms of harassment that Sean had implemented. It's honestly sad that you expect this guy, who is going to university, to be a little more responsible, but it seems that isn't really the case whatsoever. It makes me physically ill that people like these were allowed to exist on YouTube with absolutely no pushback for what they did whatsoever. The fact that these people were a part of a community which ultimately consisted entirely of kids is disgusting to me. For this community has had an ongoing issue of trying to address these degenerates. In fact, there are many people like Super Yoshi who have been festering within the community. I just hope at some point that they are eventually expunged from this community. And that's pretty much everything on my part. I want to give my friends a chance to speak their thoughts on the Vyond community and so forth. So after they're done, I'll talk to you guys again after the video. I'll see you soon.
Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sapphire05 and today I'm going to be talking about one of my absolutely most favorite communities, the Vyond community. Now there are so many problems with this community, I honestly don't think you could manage to cover everything in one video. It's kind of insane, and if you have any association with this community at all, you know they suck balls, alright? I mean, this is terrible. This is probably one of the worst communities on YouTube, if I'm being honest, just speaking from my own experience with them. If you do so happen to be a part of this community, great, that's cool, good for you, and I'm not here to hate on anyone who is, but there are some real problems with the community that need to be addressed, and I will be going over a couple of those in my part of this video. So let's get right into it. First off, one of the more subtle problems in the Vyond community is that they act like they know everything when they don't. By that, I mean they will go out of their way to cite these random Google websites or sources that they don't really even read whenever they're in conflict with someone else, which isn't uncommon in the Vyond community. They try to use these random articles from the internet to support their arguments, and a lot of the time these websites actually contradict what they're saying because they don't read it fully. And it's not always an internet article. The information they're crediting often comes from their friends or other members of the Vyond community. And sometimes after they do this improper research, they will go to their YouTube community tabs and whatever other social media they use to try to explain how they are right according to whatever article or source they're using. Here's an example. Chase the Stick Figure, the one that you all know and love. As you can see here, he's trying to argue to people that pedophilia is not actually a crime and is instead a mental disorder, and then he goes and cites a random article written by a completely random person that he knows nothing about. Now, I'm not here to debate whether it's actually a crime or a disorder, that's a whole different thing, but as you can see right here, he uses the word proof. Now, whether the article is successfully backing up your argument or not, nothing written on the internet by a random user should ever be considered proof. Now, I actually did read read through the article a little bit, and it does kind of back up what Chase is saying, but let's face it, we all know Chase didn't actually read through this article. It's effectively the same thing as seeing the title and calling it proof. It is not proof of anything. A better example of this would be from Jonah Campbell. Now, I don't know the full story, and I really don't mean to get that far off track, but apparently there was someone called Gladys Sharp, and everyone thought it was another account of Jonah's. In response to this, there was a video uploaded on Gladys's channel called Face Reveal plus Proof that I am not Jonah Campbell, and this is what it looks like. Now let's be real. You can't look at this and tell me that this is a fucking face reveal, okay? It just doesn't make sense. First of all, this woman in this picture looks to be in her like 40s, somewhere around there. And what normal middle-aged woman is gonna be on YouTube.com posting gotcha videos? Realistically. Now, I ran a reverse image search on this picture and couldn't find anything, but that doesn't change the fact that it's not hard to tell that this quote-unquote face reveal isn't real. But apparently my boy Jonah Campbell over here can't really pick up on that. Here is proof that Gladys Sharp user is not a sock puppet account created by me. And it's just a link to the video I just showed you. It doesn't really take a genius to realize that the video is not proof of jack shit. Basically, Jonah is using a completely random Vyonder's video to try and prove his point. It is a completely invalid source and cannot be used as proof for anything. One last example of Vyonders using invalid sources for their arguments comes from the user BlamcoHD. Now, this clip I'm about to show you is not only fucking hilarious, but is also an example of Blamco spreading information from a source that is clearly incorrect. Let's play that right now.
Okay, according to many of Chase's friends, including myself, calling people clowns is actually racist, as it can be taken as a term for a pedophile or a sex offender, as many sex offenders and pedophiles often dress up as clowns to lure their victim.
Alright, so Blamco says, according to his quote-unquote friends, and himself, calling someone a clown is racist to pedophiles. You did not mishear that. I don't care what anyone says. If that type of information is coming from any source whatsoever, that source is in no way creditable. It's common sense. These Vyonders don't put proper research and or effort into their arguments at all, but they still try to use these arguments as if they were valid. Now, there's many more examples of this that I can remember, but I'd really rather not watch hours of Vyond content to try and find them, so you'll just have to take my word for it. Okay, moving on. So the next problem with the Vyond community is arguably a pretty big problem depending on how you view it, but that is all of the underage dating and the amount of adults dating and doing sexual role plays with kids in the Vyond community. Yep, you might think it's weird, and pretty reasonably, I don't blame you, but apparently this is not something that's uncommon in the Vyond community. I do have a couple examples of this. First one, back to our old pal Chase the stick figure. Now, I'm not gonna go in depth with this one, I'll just give you a brief explanation before moving on to the other ones. So basically, Chase used to actually go and animate his own sex scenes out of underaged cartoon characters. Not only that, he said he wanted to do some questionable things like lick their nipples, and even ask the henchmen, us, if we wanted to. Now, if you want more information about this, make sure to head over to my channel and check out my Dark Truth video. In that video, I basically go in depth about Chase and most of his wrongdoings, including the whole sex tape thing. So if you want more information about that, then the video is up on my channel. Anyway, enough of Chase. A big example of an adult dating a minor in this community would be Jetta Sweets, or Jetta Strawberry Lover, or fucking Foxy X Chica Lover. She changes her name quite a lot, but for the sake of this video, we'll just call her Pedophile. I mean Jetta. Now, Jetta is a 20-year-old, well, adult woman content creator in the Vyond community. She uploads some questionable content consisting of furry drawings, gotcha, and whatever the fuck else an autistic member of the Vyond community would post. Now, Iris actually did go over this person in a completely separate video, so I'm just going to be basically recapping what he said, but in my own words. So Jetta actually thought, for whatever reason, that it was a good idea to go and date a 13-year-old boy in the Vyond community. This 13 or 14-year-old, I'm not sure of his exact age, it's somewhere around there, goes by the name of Sam the Blue Gotcha Video Maker, or Sam the Blue Flying Demon, or I give up. These Vyonders never know when to stop changing their names. We'll just call him Sam. So Sam and Jetta participated in these weird sexual roleplays together online. Now that's already disgusting and honestly embarrassing for Jetta, but it doesn't stop there. After Jetta and Sam were dating and doing these roleplays for a while, and Sam was being groomed by Jetta, Jetta received a lot of backlash from her audience and the general Vyond community, which caused Jetta to break up with Sam. Now that's probably a good thing that they broke up. I mean, she never should have groomed him in the first place, but Jetta Jetta's dumbass decided she wasn't done. Shortly after they broke up, Jetta made an alternate YouTube account called Brea and got back together with the 13-year-old, except this time, so she wouldn't receive backlash, she lied about her age and said she was 15. Now, I'm just gonna pause here, alright? It's one thing to go and groom a minor. That's already embarrassing for you as it is, but the fact that you went out of your way to put the effort into pretending to be someone who is younger just so you could date this minor is honestly unbelievable. It just shows how much of a fucking loser Jetta is. People like Jetta really don't give the Vyond community a good look. I mean, honestly, at this point, I think it's impossible for anyone to give the community a good look. But anyway, that is going to end off my part of this video. I'm sorry I didn't really cover more examples of the whole pedophilia / grooming thing. I'm just kind of rushing to finish my part here because I have a lot of shit I need to do in the next few days, so I do apologize for that. If you really want another example, head over to Iris's channel and check out his video about Sarah Splits 18. I actually was planning about talking about her in this video, but like I said, I'm just in a rush. She's a good example of a fucking pedophile and just overall weirdness in the Vyond community, so if you're interested, for whatever reason, there's that. I just want to thank Iris for letting me participate in this collab and allowing me the time to write the script and edit and do all that. If you want to check out my channel, I go by Sapphire05. I haven't really been uploading a whole lot, but if you just want to go and drop a sub or even leave a like on a video of mine, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you guys for watching my part, and I will see all you guys later.
Hey guys, it's me, BearStudios. Welcome back to another collab video. So today, I want to talk about Vyonders, right? Now, I'm pretty sure you guys know what Vyonders are, right? I mean, if you're watching the video, right? Most of our fan bases split, like Sapphire and all them, are full of Vyonders. So, the main part I want to talk about Vyonders, right, is how they threaten people a lot, right? They threaten people to get their way. Personally, this example by this user called Plotagon Noah uses his age, since he's 10 years old, which he shouldn't be on YouTube. You have to be at least 13 to open an account on YouTube. So again, he shouldn't even be on YouTube in the first place. But still, he is using his age to get people to make videos on him, right? This is like it's crazy, right? And then there's other people. I have another example from this YouTuber called Jeffy Paul, threatening people to get their account terminated because they stopped making a style of content or a certain type of video. This commonly takes place in the Vyond community, right? And I honestly don't know why this happens. They just keep doing that. And so this is why I'm going to go to Chase the Stick Figure's house.
Ha 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 ha.
Okay, well.
Chase the Stick Figure, you are grounded for 2,665,365,265,264 years. Go to your room now. I need to kill my goddamn self.
From what we've learned in this video, Vyond is a program that allows businesses to create media for their company. However, it has been utilized with negative intentions from a lot of young, manipulated children in the community, or a ton of unhinged adults. This has caused these people to be irresponsible at the program, or either how they're criticized on a situation. The irresponsibility has caused drama to envelop in the community and take in refuge, and it has also emitted waves of toxicity in the air that a lot of people in the community were breathing in, convincing themselves that whatever toxic thing they did was justifiable. This community of people had also maintained a negative reputation due to the immaturity that went on in that community. The animation program was utilized to make tons of abusive content regarding of young fictional characters like Caillou, Dora, or other characters like Barney, and making events called punishment days for these characters. This community had not only endured all these negative traits, but also had suffered through a wave of disgusting predators that would groom or manipulate minors to believe that they weren't bad people after they were proven guilty in their cases of grooming. There were also cases where these Vyonders would even normalize pedophilia, sexual assault, CP, and a lot more disgusting things. After everything we've covered in this video, it's probably leaving you feeling disgusted, upset, stressed, or a headache, and I don't blame you. I have been trying to find content on this channel that doesn't involve talking about Vyonders who either do disgusting, heinous crimes or constantly mentioning them, because I really don't like mentioning them. It does get tiring and sickening to address these people who do the exact same disgusting things. It's just a matter of disgust I've built from the Vyond community that makes me very disappointed that it's not taking the time to properly and adequately mature. They say they're trying to change, but nobody has really changed anything. The community will have people in there who are genuinely good people, and it shouldn't dissuade you of trying to find these people in that community. I'm just saying that you should be very careful of who you talk to there. And it's sad that I even need to give this warning to you all. I really speak as a person who really wants to see this community overcome their problems, but they aren't really doing that quite well. Now when I look back on the Vyond community in a retrospective manner, all I see is just a cloud ominously brewing, waiting to strike on a specific Vyonder, or whoever talks about the community in a critical light. Let me give an example of what I mean. Let's say a Vyonder has recently been considered a bad actor in the community for giving criticism to the community's problems. Now the community will mostly respond in the comments, or in some rare cases make a video on them essentially saying how much they hate them or want them to be run over by a car. It just goes to show how it can be worrying to take part in a community that is insensitive to the littlest of criticism provided. Thank you for listening to this video and taking the time to watch every single second of it. For my final say, I think it should be emphasized. The Vyond community is a desolate and daunting community to be a part of, that fractures your sense of critical thinking and completely breaks you mentally. But the question is, can it be fixed? To be honest with you, I don't know. And I don't think I will ever know when it will ever be fixed.